Hi class. Today I wanted to present my presentation on the Women's National Basketball Association getting paid less than the National Basketball Association. I chose this topic because A, I'm a woman, and B, I just find the topic really important. The subject goes bigger than just professional sports. In general, women are still paid less than men in 2024, and I think it's a really important topic to talk about, discuss, and I decided to take advantage of it using the WNBA. So, starting with some basic facts, the NBA was founded in 1949, while the WNBA was founded in 1996. So, the NBA has been around for about 50 more years than the WNBA. This is kind of an unfair advantage of the NBA because they've been around longer, they have more sponsorships, more brand deals, and their brand and name is just out there, again, for more than 50 years than the WNBA. So the NBA has received more free sports coverage and has received billions in public investments, whereas the WNBA doesn't receive as much free sports media coverage. They kind of have to, really push their name out there and really get viewers and tickets and all those things a lot more. It's a lot more of a difficult process than the NBA. And then the WNBA has received barely, not as much public investments as billions with a B as the NBA has. And so literally from corporate America to professional sports, a major problem still stands, and that is the gender pay gap. You would think with it being 2024 that there would be more equality and more movements for equal pay, but that is just not the case, even in professional sports, which, as we have learned, sports are something to be idolized. Sports are something that people watch because they want to be invested in and they want themselves to play in. But how can we advocate for such things as professional sports and put so much money in it when women and men are still treated unequally? That's a real question. So on average, the NBA player made over $5 million last year, while the average WNBA player made $120,000 per year, according to Forbes. And so on average, the WNBA players make $1.25 for every $100 an NBA player is paid. This is a pretty crazy numbers right here. $1.25 for every $100 spent on an NBA player. That's a really disproportionate value there. And I didn't incorporate it in the slide, but I have a video that will also kind of talk about it. But these WNBA players are having to go overseas to make money because in general in the United States for a season they're making about $76,000, which is the average income of an American playing a professional sport. Meanwhile, you have men over here like LeBron James, Stephen Curry, all these people making so much more money than they need to be, but so much more money in general than women, which is a really big topic that isn't discussed as much by the actual NBA or WNBA, but by fans, spectators, but it just hasn't caused enough commotion, I guess, to get equality, but it is a really big difference here that is unacceptable in my opinion. So in general, in 2020, the average women's income was only 82.3% of what men made. So this is a bigger issue than professional sports. It's just astonishing to me that in today's day and age, it's still allowed in professional sports. Like I said, something that's idolized. Because for the average citizens that work, corporate jobs or service jobs, women are still getting paid a lot less than men in 2024. We preach that our country is this great place of equality and to come and, make your path and way in America. But for women, it's very defeating. Not only are they making less than men, they weren't able to play in sports for a long time. They were looked at as just feminine objects. And it's really discouraging to be a woman in America, even today, but back then, and to see little progress made. I mean, obviously women are allowed to vote and allowed to dress and work, but still at not an equal rate as men, which is really discouraging as a woman. So taking it even further, black female professional athletes only make 64% of what their white male professional athlete counterparts make, and black women typically get paid less than white women and white men. I am of mixed race, so these facts really hit home to me. I feel like, for the NBA and the WNBA, as we just learned, African Americans kind of really, I don't want to say, they just kind of emerged in sports, especially in basketball. So you have black players like LeBron James and like Kevin Durant getting all these brand deals and making billions of dollars, while you have black professional women making $76,000 a year. It's really crazy facts here, and especially where we just learned about Michael Jordan and his emergence and how African Americans were seen as these idols, and that, African Americans had a dream. They could play professional sports. They could, stop racial prejudice, and they could be these emergent icon stars. But that wasn't just a look up for men. Women were also looking up to this, and in 2024, they're still looked at negatively, which is just really messed up and I think should be a bigger topic. So the Women's National Basketball Association has better television ratings apparently, but only get a third of their television revenue. I wasn't able to really find facts on the men's, but I do know in emerging years that the Women's National Basketball Association ratings have gone up. This is due recently in the last, I'd say, 2 years, due to women's college basketball, which has had way emerging stars, and they are starting to move their way into the Women's National Basketball Association, and fans are starting to follow them. Fans are starting to buy tickets, fans are starting to get merchandise, and we see these college stars starting to get brand deals and firstly drafted in the Women's National Basketball Association, which is a really good thing, and I hope that it brings more revenue and more opportunities for women in the WNBA. But this is really just the start. Like I said, this really just started happening in the last 2-3 years, because before that, people barely watched the WNBA. They didn't care about women's college basketball, and it was all about the men. So players in the NBA also get about 50% of their revenue, while the WNBA only gets about 20%. That is a 30% difference, which is a lot. 30%? Why are we as spectators, as coaches, as, just America in general, not doing more about this? And this is just a quick video to show you that it's not just the community, but fans are really starting to point out, this disparity between men and women's pay.
There's nothing more powerful than you making your thing happen. Really going for it.
Now to the reaction when some fans learned how much professional women's basketball players earn as a base salary compared to the men. Zareen Shaw has more. And Zareen, this was quite the contrast to the men, but Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, they might be changing things in the future.
Yeah, Rebecca, it absolutely could. The ratings for Monday's draft rivaled 2003's. That is when LeBron was chosen by the Cavs. And look, before possible endorsements, the base salary for every WNBA rookie is just a fraction of 1% of the highest paid NBA rookie. But if millions of fans glued to the women's college basketball this year follow those players to the WNBA, there could be a whole different ballgame here.
Clark! Oh my!
As the major stars in women's basketball prepare for the bright lights of the WNBA,
Angel Reese.
the salaries that await them, which some are calling extremely low, exposing a wide but very real gender pay gap in professional basketball.
She's going to make millions for the WNBA, and she's getting $76,000 next year.
According to Spot Rack, Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, Camila Cardozo, Rickea Jackson are all tied for the highest female rookie salaries, estimated to make $76,535 this year. This is slightly less than the average mean wage in America last year.
Are they doing DoorDash on the side to survive? I mean, I know you ain't buying a house on that salary.
Incoming WNBA players like Clark and Angel Reese already cashing in other ways, piggybacking off their NIL deals with endorsements and partnerships that far exceed the WNBA salaries. But most current WNBA players need to supplement their income by playing overseas. It's a sharp contrast to last year's top 3 picks in the NBA rookie class, who averaged around $10 million a year. But the WNBA has never generated the same kind of revenue as the NBA.
It's because of fans' lack of interest, not watching, not buying products, not buying tickets. That's why we are where we are right now. But that can change, and I think it will change because of what we're watching.
The much anticipated WNBA season driven by the record ratings for women's college basketball and a draft night which saw more viewers than the NBA draft has seen in more than 2 decades. It could shake up the professional sports landscape.
We are witnessing a transformational moment in sports that we may not experience for generations. Support for the WNBA is continuing to grow.
On Tuesday, Clark spoke to GMA about going pro.
I worked really hard for it. I think that's what I'm really proud of. Is like I earned it, I deserved it.
Clark steps back, fires, you bet!
And all of this is a really good sign to move the conversation forward as the WNBA starts to negotiate a new rights deal, a new TV rights deal, which they will be doing very soon.
And it's TV rights and corporate partnerships, of course, that dictate how leagues pay players once new TV contracts are negotiated and bigger female college stars enter the WNBA. We should gradually see less of a pay difference. Guys.
It's a great point from Zareen, and the more you see these star players, the more people visit the games, the more money they make. This is the first contract for Caitlin Clark. I predict things get very different on round 2.
Yeah, she's going to open up for a lot of other players in the future. Yeah. All the young ladies in the draft this year are going to open up the game and financially for a lot of the players that are coming after them, which is great.
Which is great to see.
If you're not making 150, I strongly encourage.
Okay. So that video really puts into perspective how these college players are starting to, make a name and get the WNBA the recognition it deserves. I still think it's going to take some time to really see a quality matching, but hopefully with people becoming educated and more aware and getting more views and ratings and more interest, things can eventually become equal as women deserve and have worked so hard for, as we've seen. We've seen women not be able to play sports because they're need to be feminine and in the kitchen, and they're going to break their bodies and they're too weak and it's too competitive for men. And we're in a different age and we continue to move into a different age. And I really hope in my generation, as I grow older, that there can be more opportunities and equality in women's pay, because women deserve it. It's a human right, and we are just as smart and capable as men, so we should be paid as such. Thank you.